Okay, so I'm here in my living room and I'm watching some hockey. Usually I don't have that much time to watch even one game, much less to catch up on the rest of the games in the league. And that's where I use the app, the NHL mobile app, where I can, catch up on the scores of all the games that happened, today or sometimes even yesterday. And the app recently was updated, which, is already trouble, right? Whenever the people trying to make things even better, they a lot of times actually make them worse, and this was definitely one of those cases. So I'm gonna show it to you in a second, but two things that people want to see usually when I think almost any sports is basically what the score was, what the final score was, and who were the people who made that score what it was, right? In case of hockey, it's who scored the goals, and that's usually all most people want to know. There are people who play fantasy leagues and they actually are interested in other statistics, and really hardcore fans are also interested in statistics, but those are two primary statistics for almost every sport, right? The score and the people who scored the goals. So let's take a look and see what this NHL app update brought, the change that it brought, and the reason I really dislike it. Okay, so here is the app. It usually opens at the latest scores, which is great, and that's usually the first thing you want to see, which team played which other team and what the score was. But here's a problem. So for example, I want to see what happened in this game. And usually the one thing that people do want to see is the players who scored the goals. All other statistics is kind of secondary. All right, so I click on the final, and now it's going to come up with the next screen. But as you can see, now it gives me all kinds of team stats and a lot of zeros here because this is alphabetical order of players, or I think it's order of their jersey numbers, which makes even less sense. And there's statistics for the game, and then there is all kinds of other statistics for the game that most people don't usually care about. And here it is, hidden in a box, which is, I just don't like that name actually. This is where you have to click in order to go and look at who scored the goals. Now here are all the players who scored the goals. As a matter of fact, I don't even like the fact that I have to scroll, because there were how many goals here? 8 goals, right? This app used to actually fit them all in one screen, but now I have to scroll through the screen to see all of them. So that's annoying, but the fact is that this screen should really come up pretty much right after I click on the original game, what do you call it, the card, right? So there you go. All right, so as you can see, this is something that used to be actually good because you were able to see everything, the scores, and right away you were able to see the list of players who scored without having to scroll, and now you don't have either. Again, overall, it's not a bad design. I like the design. It's definitely very very pleasant, but not as useful, And this is kind of a dilemma a lot of times. Is, do you want something that's pleasant looking, or do you want something that is easy to use? I think the rise of Google.com over all of the other search engines, I don't know if you remember, there used to be AltaVista and InfoSeek and so forth. The reason I think they won that game, because those guys were trying to make their homepages a really spectacular, right? Everything there, very graphics heavy, and Google came in and boom, just empty screen, one field, and the button go. But the fact is, that was the best search engine at that time, and definitely now, and that's why they won this whole battle of search engines. So even though their user interface wasn't, graphics heavy and as pleasant, but because the users were looking for good search results and that was their number one priority, Google won. There's no competitor here as far as the NHL app is concerned. Well, I mean, there are some, but not really. But I really hope they kind of go back and update it, because I'm a user, so I would have loved if they were able to do something about it and make my life just a little bit easier, which is kind of the job of any user interface.